Hey everyone, it's Fiona Edgar, Astrologer here. So, we have had quite a significant astrological event start today, and that is that the nodes have switched signs. So, the North Node has entered Taurus, and the South Node has entered the sign of Scorpio. So, what are the nodes? Well, first of all, they're not actually planetary bodies, they're nothing physical. It's a point in they're points in space. They're actually known as Rahu and Ketu. The Vedic guys have been using them for quite a long time. So what do they represent? The North Node is kind of where we want to get to, right? And it also has a key in it, a solution to something. Where we are is in the South Node. That's the comfort zone. That's kind of got what we've got used to. It's the kind of influences that we don't want to cut off completely. That's a common misconception about the nodes. We want to get a balance. So the nodes are on an axis, which means that the North Node is always going to be directly opposite the South Node. So these guys are going to be transiting through Taurus and Scorpio until July of next year, right? So quite a long time. Now, I personally feel like it's really all about, mostly about this kind of great reset business. Hate to say that, but that's kind of what they're doing. Now, I know that nothing about what we're kind of going through seems very subtle, but they know the objective of these people is not to change like anything overnight. Okay, it was the same when they introduced or forced Christianity upon the Europeans, right? They knew that what they were wanting to achieve, which was the submission of European people, to weaken them, make them less warlike, more likely to turn the other cheek. The Romans invented Christianity, let's be clear on that. And they did that because they found various parts of Europe incredibly hard to dominate. Okay? So the figure of Jesus Christ is mythological. He never existed. If you want to watch, Thomas Sheridan made a video and it's called Who Stole the All-Father? So they based it on a kind of loose image of Odin, right? But like a super cooked version. Okay, so that was the sole objective of it. Now they knew that they weren't going to change everyone's beliefs overnight. They knew that it would take a couple of generations. So that's what I believe that these great reset guys are trying to do, because they know that they can't just change the whole economy, the way that people live, all of that overnight. They've done that in the past and it didn't go very well. The Bolsheviks and all of that, you know, they're taking a more soft approach this time. And I know that nothing about this seems soft, but what they're looking to achieve, they're very patient, because these people, I don't know who they are. I have a bit of an idea, but I'm not going to say it on YouTube. But they know that it's going to be a couple of years, but that's what this is about. So the South Node in Scorpio and the North Node in Taurus are two signs that are connected to finances. Okay? So when you have Scorpio, it's about kind of collective money, other people's money, the system. It's about power. It is about control. So North Node in Taurus is about being financially independent. It's a place of stability. It's kind of a nice comfortable place. You know, you get up every day, you go to work, you have enough money, your wife is able not to work and look after the kids. Wow, remember when people could actually do that? And you come home, you have a nice dinner, you got steak and potatoes, you're planning your next vacation, and you have money, and you have comfortable life and security. But that's not where a lot of people are at right now. And that's symbolized by this kind of fearful, it is fearful, yeah, South Node in Scorpio. And it's about like these vampire people that just want to drain your life force and control your life and make us all into kind of communist China. That, let's face it, that's what they're trying to do. And I don't like it. So the North Node is kind of, first of all, there is a conjunction to Uranus. Okay, so when two planets are in the same sign, it's a conjunction. Doesn't matter about the orb, right? Orbs are something that silly modern astrologers use. If it's in the same sign, then those two are connecting quite closely together. Now, the orbs do matter the closer they get to the conjunction. That's when you're going to feel the most impact. But we're feeling that now. So what is Uranus? Uranus is a planet of liberation and a planet of freedom. Okay? So liberation. Uranus wants to liberate us. So it's kind of like what I said in the other video about Jupiter and Pisces. We really need to think outside of the box here to be able to escape this control system. Right? And I don't mean about the needlecraft, just about the needlecraft and all of that. I mean, get out of your office job if you can. If you have money in the bank, don't keep it for a rainy day. Go and buy some land. Taurus is also connected to the land that we live on. Okay, so go and buy some land. Start to become more self-sufficient. That's the way that I see this North Node conjunct Uranus. Is that we have to be willing to take a risk, willing to do something radically different. You know, instead of, if you're really tired of things now, you're going to get even more tired on down the line. Now, I know in the UK and other places, they are talking about dropping the restrictions, but this is only really getting started. They're going to have more things up their sleeve. Why do I think that? Because we had the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction in Aquarius. So that is going to influence the next 20 years. So when you have Saturn in Aquarius, it's all about your freedoms being restricted, limited in various ways. So it's not really time. I think it's a bit premature to breathe any sigh of relief. Doesn't matter if you can go to on your holiday to Mallorca. You need to think long term, especially if you have children. So becoming more self-sufficient, changing your job into something that you have more control over, that you're not going to lose in 5 years when of course this is going to happen again, right? They've seen how well it works. They've seen how people have been lining up to get this shit. Now, my personal gnosis and the information that I received when I went to my gods and asked for advice, what they told me was that this round of needlecraft or whatever is not the one to be overly worried about. Now, I know that there's been all the hard stuff and various things. They said it's the one to worry about is on down the line. Now, I'm not saying this to bring fear to anyone, but when it comes to it, if you're in a job that you will get fired from if you don't do stuff that they say and force you to, this has been like a training exercise, okay? You better start thinking, you better prepare to do something new, because it really isn't going to be over, even if they do lift all of the restrictions, right? I'm just saying, I don't want everyone to be depressed, but I have to tell the truth about what I see astrologically. Otherwise, I'm going to be a shitty astrologer, okay? So it's not all bad. Lots of people are in the same boat. You know, can you get together and buy some land? Can you get together and start a business together? It's like-minded people that we need to be seeking at this time. If you've been feeling the heat recently, you know, it probably on down the line it is going to get a bit worse, because like I said, this has been a training exercise. Now, there is something quite notable that I wanted to mention to you. Right, so there's a fixed star called Algol. and its meaning is the demon's head, or the head of the ogre. And it's located at 26 degrees of Taurus. It's considered to be one of the worst fixed stars that there is. So it can cause disaster, it's dangerous, it's about violence. Now again, I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I'm an honest astrologer. So around the time of 22nd to 25th of February, maybe a few days before and a few days, maybe a week or so after that, there's the likelihood of something pretty bad happening, because we also have a Venus, Mars and Pluto conjunction in Capricorn, right? So something's going to go down then, and I don't really like it. So I don't know. I have no idea what it could be. But when the North Node conjuncts the demon's head, first of all, I know that I've been talking about the increase in spirit activity, like not like kind of your dead granny starting to rattle your bed at night, but like these scary boogeymen archetypes that people have been seeing, including myself. Go to Jupiter and Pisces video if you want to hear more on that. But the kind of demonic spirit activity thing is probably going to increase, because really it's all of this stuff being activated in people's minds. You know, that scary boogeyman that we can't see, the one that's trying to force us into the needlecraft, force us into all different kinds of things. So that's why these things are able to flood in, because what we're thinking about collectively, we're going to kind of see in the world around us. The spirit world reflects the way that you're feeling. So a lot of people live their lives in fear. You know, maybe they have trauma from their childhood. I used to be one of those people. So I was always scared. I went through some shit. You probably know what it is if you're familiar with my channel, so I'm not going to mention it again, but I went through a lot of trauma in my childhood, and I was kind of scared to be alone in my house, and that fear and that wound was still really affecting my mind. So being a spiritual person and, you know, able to see spirits, that totally manifested as a lot of spiritual attacks, you know, because I was scared that I was going to be attacked, and the spirit world reflected what was going on with me. So clearing trauma is what we want to do. So, you know, the Scorpio South Node is all about trauma, you know, sexual violence, sexual abuse, being abused by authority figures. It's also about control. So as soon as those nodes changed, I felt that. Now I've got Scorpio Moon. If you have any Scorpio personal planets, you're really going to feel this transit, okay? What it is trying to get you to do is to move away from any of those more difficult scorpionic issues. Stuff like jealousy, secrets, cheating, paranoia, obsessions. Anything like that has to go, all right? And you have to try and move into a more Taurian mindset and a more Taurian life. Like, you know, like I said, stability, loyalty, trying to have a nice, happy life. So if you're a Scorpio person, you're going to notice those feelings possibly flaring up inside you all of a sudden, or you meet someone that triggers all of that. Deal with your stuff, you know. Now is the time to do it, because I really do feel like collectively, if we all dealt with our traumas and wounds, then we wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. Because over the last 20 years or so, children have been growing up in a way that's unsafe, right? And I don't mean that they're not, you know, they haven't washed their hands enough or any of that crap. I mean that lots of kids now come from broken homes. It's normal. But, you know, and I'm not blaming the parents or anything like that, because they're wounded too. But when someone leaves a child, when that child is 3 years old, you know, it causes something, it changes something. So they seek security, they become codependent. You know, they're fearful. So we're growing up, and these turn into adults who are still wounded, but they just repress it. So first of all, we need to get rid of those traumas. We need to get rid of the fear and the need to be controlled and to have someone else help us, control us, save us. We have to save ourselves. That was one of the reasons why they created Christianity, was because all of a sudden you had this thing on a cross that was nailed to your plank, and if you did anything bad, you know, you could grovel to him and everything was okay. So there's a lot of karmic stuff as well, and that gets passed on ancestrally. You know, whatever your ancestors have done, you inherit that. Sorry to say, but that's just the way that it is, because who are you? You're just all of your ancestors put together. Like myself, I'm all of my ancestors put together. The experiences that I've had as Fiona Edgar are like a tiny grain of sand on a huge beach. So we have to get rid of that. When you, like, I know people are going to say, shut up, stop talking about that. But I have to say it again, I'm sorry. When you work with Odin or Thor, the fear leaves you. Your fear leaves you. You know, your trauma leaves you. And it does. Because when Odin's consciousness is starting to be activated within your own DNA and Thor's, you're not going to be scared of any entity or government. So I'm not going to say that this is going to be an easy transit. I'm sorry. I don't think it is, but I don't think any of us can really, if you're being realistic about it, and if you're an astrologer and you're looking at the astrology, it's never going to go back to the way that it was. They've seen how well it worked. You know, it's like an abusive spouse blackmailing their partner into doing something, and she complies, and then so he does it over and over again. It's not the end of it. So we have to get our thinking caps on and come up with solutions to try and exit this matrix of control as much as we possibly can, to get into something that is more comfortable and more wholesome. Now, we do have a fight on our hands, but the more that you participate in society, office jobs, you know, apartment in the city, all of that, the more control that they're going to have over you. So let's get thinking. You know, if you have any more ideas or any more advice or information that you can share with everyone else, then drop it in the comments. Okay, so I know that that's a bit intense, but it is intense. We live in intense times. So I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I need to say? So obviously you'll see the economic stuff, you know, happening further. With Uranus conjunct the North Node, Uranus is like anything that is really unusual, futuristic, eccentric. So it's maybe time to think about investing in cryptocurrencies, right? Transfer a good, whatever you can, into an account and buy some crypto, because that's a Uranian thing, cryptocurrency. So just some thoughts, but we have to deal with our traumas if we want to stop the control system, because that's how they're getting to us. Okay. Thanks for listening to me rant, guys. Sign up to my Patreon if you want more personal readings that are affordable. Go to my website, FionaEdgar.com, if you'd like to book a 60-minute reading, and then I give voice clips every day on my Telegram channel. Okay, so I love you all, guys. Back again soon.